Ooh. Vhalin, huge leader extraordinaire, leader of Gentlemen's Club, picker-up of a lot of 20B players, and destroyer of Murder Force 9000 last night. So glad we could have you linked up here, buddy. How you going?
I'm going fine. Glad to be on the show.
All right, so we got a big list of things to talk about today, and I believe, well, first of all, we'll go over here in the stream, and of course for you watching at home with the VODs in the comments below. You should be able to get links to, oh, I got a deleted link over on Twitch TV. Well, I'll put this up into...
Send it to me, I'll paste it.
Sure, but
you gotta give you admin, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't have admin.
Give the host the admin.
Because of course we're on a new channel this week. It's great. We're back onto XTV. XTV is like now our partner, and they're letting us broadcast to here. We've put our past VODs on there, and that's pretty sweet. I think that's pretty great. So thank you, Xtine, thank you, Lucky Luke, and everyone over on the XTV group. But yeah, we've got Vhalin here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Once again, great.
Still doing great.
Still
Amazing.
doing good.
Why don't we do this? Vhalin, would you like to introduce yourself to people who don't know your legacy and the huge legend that you are? How about that?
I don't know.
Tell
Some kind of nerd legacy, nerd legend.
Nerd legacy.
How long have you been playing TF2?
I've been playing TF2 on and off since I think 2008, and I got into competitive scene in 2010, and I played in Invite for one season, played a couple seasons of Open, couple seasons of Intermediate, and I'm now on my third or fourth season of Highlander, I think. And I would say I just enjoy the game like everybody else. Enjoy finding out new ways to play the game, and I like to explore different ways to play the game, yeah.
And you're a map maker too. And we're going to talk about that. Is that right, sir?
I guess you could say that. I don't actually work in Hammer, but I work really closely with someone who's really good at Hammer, and I just give him a lot of suggestions. It's Sean. Yeah, Sean? He's the same creator of Egypt, Junction, and he has another Koth map. I forgot it. Harvest.
Dang.
He made Harvest?
Wow.
Yes.
We need to get him on this show.
For all that don't know on the channel, Hammer is the development environment that you use to make Steam tools and maps and stuff.
And for those who don't know, Egypt is
the most popular map ever in like public play.
Yes. Pub play, of course, the highlight. But you obviously played with the Syndicate. A lot of people might know you from there. You played Soldier for the Syndicate. So maybe that's the first thing we can talk about, a little bit of gameplay stuff. I know that you you've had videos and posted a lot of sort of strategic stuff and helpful kind of stuff about different weapons and stuff, mainly the black box. Did you want to kind of start there? I think you were wanting to...
Yeah. I can start with the black box. Well, let me think about the history first. I first just started using it in pubs when I was bored of the other loadouts and other classes, other loadouts, and I was actually playing with Soup. It was the old Syndicate Soldier, and we used to go on the Skyle 24/7 Badwater server, and we used to just go rocket jump out of spawn every life and go camp spawn together on Badwater like every day, like 4 hours. And eventually he's like, hey, you should use the black box. It's way better. And at first I was like, nah, it's not better. Only 3 rockets, blah, blah, blah. And then, then I started using it, and then I realized it's actually really strong. Like before, I thought it was just a weapon for noobs. Didn't know that having 3 rockets is dumb. But I really enjoyed it, and I had really a lot of fun with it. And so I wanted to use it in a competitive environment, and I knew that it wouldn't work in 6s because in 6s there's so much emphasis on bombing the medic and being able to get the medic to use or die at those set times, and you have one less rocket. That's really difficult. But something that the black box is really good at is staying alive on the flank for a long time and not getting healed. And something that have even less of in Highlander than 6s is heals. And in Highlander, Soldier plays even more so on the flanks. He helps for Highlander. And basically, I'd say the one reason why I got into Highlander is because I wanted to spawn camp on Badwater. That's pretty much it.
Truth comes out.
Skyle style, yeah. It's a classic.
There was no Badwater.
It is Skyle style.
Skyle style.
But
if there was no Badwater, would you not be playing like TF2 ever? So like we wouldn't have Vhalin today in like the alternate universe.
Is that what we have to thank, the Badwater map?
Yeah, Badwater's a great map. We should
Yeah,
thank it
Badwater's
for
great.
everything.
Yeah, it's a great
I was
map.
thinking before we eat, give thanks to Badwater.
Right, of course.
I do.
But you've spoken before, Vhalin, about how you've played Sixes and Highlander, and we talk more on this show, obviously, about Highlander, but you talk about how playing Roamer in Sixes is pretty similar to kind of the style of Soldier in Highlander. Is that right?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And, I mean, the black box it wasn't used in competitive really at all, and there was kind of a phase, I guess, recently where people started to realize, and a lot of it was, part of it at least was you, but they realized, like, this is actually, there's a style to it, but it can actually be viable, right? It wasn't always, people used to make fun of the black box, and no one used it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
you
I
were
think
bad if
most-
you used it.
well, I think
Yeah.
most people just got mad when they lost to it. That's how it became bad if you use it. Because like, oh, this guy killed me. He's a newbie. He has to use a black box. But yeah, I'm glad that more people are using it. I think another weapon that needs more love is the. That's another underused weapon.
Is the what you cut out?
The bonk drink.
Oh, the bonk. Yeah.
Oh, the bonk drink. What would you use the bonk drink for? So are we going to see bonk drinks in our Borneo match next week? Can you confirm?
Hopefully. I think Upward is next week, but I
Yep.
think bonk is
Oh.
really useful for attacking into stalemates and choke points and scouting out information. Actually being a scout, telling people what's there without dying.
Is that
no,
like
I
more
mean-
worthwhile than like milk or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is you think of some of the secondaries for scout, and especially maybe if people are scouts coming from a Sixes thing, they're so used to having the pistol, and that's just your secondary damage. And so, do you think that's maybe why people don't use it all the time because they don't want to give up damage in their secondary slot, or what do you think it is?
I think it's that most people mostly don't know how effective it can be. I think about the amount of times the pistol's effective, and I think it's really only effective for finishing off kills if you happen to miss most of your shots. But I think that a lot of people don't realize the amount of times bonk can be useful. And not only is it useful for getting away, but in between stalemates, when you're waiting for your med to get Uber, you can bonk behind them and create a distraction. I think that also right before a push, you can bonk in and distract most of the team and get the enemy to get you as opposed to your combo and live through the whole thing. That's where bonk's utility comes in handy. And you can also do a really good job of denying Ubers with it if you just happen to bonk at the right time and just sit there and block. It almost becomes like a second air blast.
What would be like a good spot to block, like in Upward? Like let's say we're running this in Upward, right?
Yeah, I think that on Upward, on the very first point, when you know how offense on the very first point always pushes out of that side door and goes up through that hill that's kind of skinny, and they eventually end up looking down from the top of that hill into like
Sure,
the
Battle of the Hill.
Yeah. But I would say it's useful right in that skinny part there that between the spawn door, the blue spawn door, and where they always end up using Uber. And if a scout can just stay bonked in front of the devil man, he could probably deny their whole Uber if he does it effectively.
We used to see. Go for it.
Oh, another good place I can think of it is for the bottom of last. How there's a skinny doorway there at the bottom where the full health pack is. I feel like you could, if you stood in that doorway with bonks, you could also deny a team from entering in.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. All right, well then let's talk about your role on Highlander this year with Gentlemen's Club. You're not playing Soldier, the class you basically defined for Highlander, but you're playing Engineer. Why is that?
Well, truth be told,
Yeah, let's
I've
hear the
always kind
truth.
of had a sick and twisted love for sitting on the level 3 sentry and the capture the flag room for 2 Fort. I used to play TF2 Fort in TFC, and I was about 10 years old, and I'd go in the flag room back when I played TFC, and I'd build a level 3 sentry. I'd sit on it all day, and then the Gunslinger came out, and it just kind of became a slower moving scout with a little bit more HP, and yeah, I really liked it. And also when I played Sixes, I was a scout main, and I played Engineer every time Gravel Pit came up, and I absolutely loved it. And I love the fact that you used to be able to get back on the roof on Gravel Pit, and back
Yeah.
before you could even have a Wrangler, and you had to build a dispenser on the entrance, on the like ramp going up, and then
Yeah.
put a teleporter on the mini roof, and then jump to the other roof. I mean,
Jump over. They had to like do like a corner jump. It was pretty sweet. Like it was really fun watching people do that.
yeah.
Yeah, you talk about distraction plays. We saw on a broadcast right here on XTV yesterday evening, you were running some little distractions in behind on Gravel Pit, running back, doing some little spawn camping moves and stuff. Are you just having fun? Is it just the most fun class to you?
It's definitely up there. I like that you can do a bunch of sneaky stuff. That's definitely one thing I like. I'd say another thing that I like, though, is that it combines the DM of Scout with the decision to make it medic and whether or not you should surrender your level E and fall back and stay alive. And that, I'd say, is like the hidden enjoyment also that I have for it.
So when are we going to see you bring out what weapon do you think is underutilized for Engineer in Highlander?
I'm not sure. I would say the weapon that I could probably use more is the Rescue Ranger. But I just don't find it very fun. Like I could be using a shotgun instead. And
Oh, it's so sweet. I have like this pet thing about the Rescue Ranger. I think like every engineer who's not running it is missing something important, but we can go into that later. Essentially, like it does 245 full heals if you get all 4 of your shots in, and like the critical key thing about it is that there's no distance. It doesn't matter if you shot it at point blank range or from like halfway across the map. You'll always heal it for like 62, 61 a shot, and then you'll always get 240, which I think is like. That is like the sentry gun's health plus, so like you get like 2 sentry gun worth of health levels with just the Rescue Ranger, which is the really cool thing I like about it.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you, however, what weapon I think is really bad that people shouldn't use, because I think that's just as important as avoiding some weapons as it is having a good one. But I think the Widowmaker is a pretty useless weapon.
Yeah.
It's so important when you're playing NG to have metal to buildings, especially when you're running. And when you run the Rescue Ranger and you miss, you're losing all that metal. Not only that, if someone really gets hit that much by, I'm sorry, I said Rescue Ranger, I meant Widowmaker. Yeah, if someone gets hit by Widowmaker that much, I think they're just bad. You should die anyway. So I think Widowmaker is actually pretty bad.
Yes, they deserve to die. Just wanted to say that.
Well, I will say that there is a cool, for all you people in Steel League and Iron League, there's a cool strat you can run where crits don't fall off over damage. So you could run a Crits Krieg Engineer on like a really long sight line, and you'll do like 100 damage a pop to like the whole team, and you can like shoot forever, like for that entire 12 seconds, and that's really really fun if they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, Crits Widowmaker is really fun in a pub, and maybe it could have its use in Highlander, but I'd still say that the Widowmaker gets equipped more than it should be.
They actually did it with Sigafu the other day. Kip and I were watching that stream where he got, I think, 10 kills, 10 kill streak. Yeah.
I think it was a 9K on Vhalin.
Yeah, okay, 9.
It was Highlander show match between Reddit and Tumblr. It was pretty epic. It should be a moment of glory soon. So there's definitely that stuff. Talk about Sigafu, one of who's one of the most renowned or well-known and well-respected engineers in Platinum this season. You went up against him in Gravel Pit and definitely came out on top. I think the casters for the game on Monday were a little surprised about how you were carrying your own against someone who's considered to be like a good engineer or mind or whatever. How do you approach this class? Differently or similarly to how you played Soldier, I guess? Or any other class?
I would say the one thing that Engineer has in common with Soldier, but it doesn't really apply on Gravel Pit, is it more applies on 5 CP and attacking on attack defend maps. Is with Engineer, frequently you end up playing on the flank. And it's the same thing with Soldier. But I would say most of my experience with Engineer comes from back before I was a competitive player, just playing in pubs, and all those seasons that I played Engineer on Gravel Pit and had a lot of fun too.
That's great.
Nice.
It's so nice to see like somebody who likes playing Engineer and has fun with it, because a lot of I know, at least in the lower divisions, Iron and Steel, it's who's the odd man out who's going to play Engineer. It's the team leader or whatever who's like, fine, I guess I'll do it this time so we can just get a game in. But especially at the Platinum level, it's people having fun and with that class. But let's move on to the rest of your team. Tell us about Gentlemen's Club.
Okay. So, Gentlemen's Club. I think first we should talk about the name Gentlemen's Club. So the name actually originates from actual gentlemen's clubs, where if some of you don't know, gentlemen's clubs are basically strip clubs, and I guess it's a proper or kind of fun way to talk about a strip club. I'm not sure, but the idea is that people in a strip club or a gentleman's club aren't actually gentlemen because they can go pay to look at naked models. That's clearly not a gentleman. So if you look at our avatar, which is a picture of Kim Jong-un, the North Korean communist leader, and Dennis Rodman, they are definitely not gentlemen. So yeah, I think the same thing goes with the rest of us. None of us really are trying to be gentlemen. But
of all your teammates, who is the most gentleman-like?
Or gentleman.
In the spirit of your team name.
I don't even know. We're all pretty awful, actually.
I'll save you. Max is a pretty gentlemanly like. He was my first pick and was absolutely crazy on Gravel Pit on Monday.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So that's gentlemanly, right? Being good in terms of fantasy TF2
Being efficient. Being efficient is very gentlemanly.
Max top scored, by the way, for Sniper in Fantasy TF2 this week, and it wasn't even close. The next one was Marissa.
Yeah.
It's 2 points.
We try not to talk about specific players too much in casks because it's not very professional, but you can't help it when they're doing so well. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's my
20
Max
kills.
rant.
No assists, all kills. 20
So
kills.
what did you have to do to pick up Max?
Or can you not legally go into it?
Max.
Or just
Well,
a
you
similar
mentioned
reveal.
Gentlemen's
Too
Club,
embarrassing.
and we.
Well, actually, Ruin wanted with Max, and Ruin's like, "Hey, we should play with Max." And so I was like, "Okay, hey Max, you want to play video games with me?" And he's like, "Yes, maybe I'll play video games with you." And I just worked the magic, dark side of the forest, black magic, said cast some spells, and then he joined my team.
That's
Cast some
great.
spells.
Nice.
Wow. That sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
the dark arts,
Wow.
manipulation.
Maybe we'll save the dark arts for the hidden talent section at the end of the show. You can do some spells.
So then
You have to say Max's name like 3 times, and then he just shows up.
I've tried it. It doesn't work.
I've heard that, yeah.
Live sacrifice on the show.
Did you
So
have to
tell us-
sacrifice like a strange, sniper rifle or something?
About the rest of your team. Stay on task, guys. Here. Who came first?
I want to apologize ahead of time about the quality of my microphone to the viewers. I'll try to slow it down, but in the end, it's just West Coast internet and not much I can do about it. But yeah, I'll try to slow it down. So, originally, the team started with Ruin. He was the first person I asked, and he expressed interest after he was disappointed with how Ginyu Force played out last season. So we kind of were like, yeah, let's make a team and we'll see what's going on. And we just started scrimming. And the original team was supposed to be Ruin on Scout, Seagull Soldier, Grape Pyro, and Enigma on. But that got shifted around because Seagull quit TF2, and we had to find a replacement for him, which ended up being Grape. And Ruin also said he'd much rather, and he would enjoy playing Demo Man so much more. So then we shifted the roster around, and now we have Grape on Soldier, and Pudding Cup on Pyro, and Ruin on Demo with Enigma on Scout.
That roster switch is not even perceptible because they've all done super well so far. Like I had no idea that Pudding switched over. Grape used to be a demo. That's crazy.
And these talks
they're
started early. I remember casting the grand finals of UGC and hearing that day, all the rumblings and the rumors of there's this super team coming together, Vhalin's team. It was this big thing, and it's been great watching you guys so far. I mean, I've liked it.
Yeah, and as long as we're on the topic of the team, I have to kind of be a slut here and say something good and nice about everybody.
It's a family
else,
show.
My players.
Family shows.
I want to be a little bit promiscuous here towards my teammates. I feel a lot more comfortable saying good things about my teammates than I would about myself. So yeah, let me go down the list. Enigma and I have been friends since about season 7 of ESCA was about early 2000, early 2009, and we never had a chance to play on a team before. We went to multiple LANs before. We talk in Mumble. We just never were on a team, so I'm really glad to be on a team with Enigma. And so far, he's been a perfect example of what a complete package the Invite Scout is. His communication has really been above and beyond what I would expect an Invite player coming into Highlander to play would be. He comms really well, and on top of that, his DM and movement are both really good. His commitment also is stellar. I really didn't expect that kind of commitment out of him. Moving on to Grape, I met Grape when I was mentoring his team back when he was in Open, and a lot of people don't know this, but Huey Lewis will back me up here. Grape is probably the best pyro in the game. If you look up Grape TF2 pyro on YouTube, he has some amazing clips. He's not that good at spy checking, but he'll take Ubers as a pyro and 6s and kill 5 people. He's really good.
Cool.
Yeah. Pudding Cup came on the team after Grape took over at Soldier, and it really worked out since he had 3 seasons of experience with Arthur. And Pudding Cup isn't the flashiest pyro, but something that so many low pyros, and I'm talking to you guys viewers, so many of pyros out there don't understand that what makes a good pyro isn't the ability to hit flares or have good DM or get frags. Okay? The thing that makes a good pyro is not making mistakes, denying Ubers, spy checking at the right time, and Pudding Cup does all these pretty much flawlessly. Right up there with Huey Lewis, Pudding Cup and playing, and the two of them really are the two most reliable, consistent, experienced pyros in Highlander.
I would agree with that. Saw Pudding Cup doing that last night in the match.
Let me move on here.
We gonna go on to gold next? It's the next topic here in my my show notes.
I wanted to hear the story about how.
I'm sorry.
Kuma got
I'm sorry. I thought that was a
Oh,
pause.
okay.
Saying we're going.
Gold. My goodness.
Okay, well let me kind of speed this up here. Everybody knows that Arthur's really good. Everybody knows that Max is really good. I already talked a little bit about Ruin, but
I think everyone knows he's really good.
Yeah. A lot of people, however, don't know that Akuma is really good.
Yeah.
He is really good. Oh my god. I've never I guess you can say people call us a really good team. We're, arguably the best team, and it's completely ridiculous that we have all these great players on our team and our spy sometimes top frags. What the fuck? When has that ever happened? Excuse my French here, but Akuma is ridiculous. Well, good.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to catch a
Akuma's,
couple of frags last night.
He's really good at getting chain stabs, consistently on a consistent measure, and he's been doing that for a year and a half now. So he's one of best spies consistently forever now. Up
He
there
needs
with
to be more of a household name. There are not enough. There's so many players like that don't get enough credit, and I think I would agree. Akuma is one. There's a few spies actually, but Akuma for sure.
Akuma,
Absolutely.
Noko, yeah.
Definitely one of the A- list players that just doesn't get the A+ rating that everyone else gives them. They give other people. So shout out to Kuma, you're awesome.
Yeah, and Kozen also is really good. He's by far the
I love
best
Kozen.
medic. And I would say last season in main, at least in my opinion, he was probably the 3rd best medic in TF2.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's it. I'm done.
How do you win platinum? You have every best player on every position possible. So that's how you do it.
Except for Indy, right?
Let's talk about your backups then. You picked up some players after Street Hoops dissolved. What's the story there?
And can you tell us about the Street Hoops dissolving a little bit more? Because it kind of just happened.
Are you at liberty?
I am not at liberty to talk about that,
Didn't
but I
think
will
so.
say that I had a really fun time with all those guys playing in main this season, and they're just all great guys. And when their team died, I picked up most of them to fill in the backup spots that we didn't have players. Like we didn't have a backup scout, and so we put Deadbolt on there, and we got the Wonder Twins, Deadbolt, Paragon, and Ash. I all played sixes with them, and we had a lot of fun. So, and I was like, hey guys, I should come back up for my team.
Cool.
Super connected you are. What's next on the list?
Twins. I love that they're twins.
Golds.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of cute.
Next on the list, filleting aside, we were going to talk about gold.
Okay, yeah. Now that I'm done, performing fellatio on my teammates, I will talk about the drama.
Gross.
So,
Get out of here.
so
This is what the tries are for.
So I don't know. What do you guys know about the teams that people are saying in gold should be moved up?
I'll be honest, I haven't followed gold at all, this season. It's been platinum
Really?
and silver for me. Yeah.
I thought you were a gold guy.
I thought about doing it, but I decided, because I know teams in gold, but
I know you do.
decided to go back on that. So.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi is like my pet team, and they won silver last season, and they're doing really well right now in gold. They haven't lost a game yet, so I think like Sci-Fi could be a person to move up. That would be really fast. That would be like meteoric, like a season and a half from mid-silver to platinum level is like a little bit too fast in my opinion. But
Get whiplash.
yeah.
DJ, did you say you were playing in gold this season, or was it?
Oh no, I'm not. One of the
Oh, I'm
teams
sorry.
that I'm close to
Hi.
is playing in gold. Cuties. I heard little. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I heard little rumor bits that the word platinum was floating around. So.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of rumors going on.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna handle that too, because I don't know from other people that I've talked to about it, because I haven't seen that many gold teams, any gold teams that actually go like stay together completely and go up to platinum also. And there's some, I don't know, I haven't talked to all of them about that because I'm really just friends with a couple of them, and then I don't know, there's bits of theirs that I don't want to get in the middle of, but Cuties is a name that had the word platinum floating around. So
Cool.
I'd be
Now,
interested
who do you want to talk about,
stay
Vhalin?
together too.
Who are you wanting to talk about?
Well, I think there's 4 teams that I hear about, and before I talk about them, I don't really want to talk about I don't think I can comment on the teams and whether they should be playing in gold, because that's really up to the UGC admins, and they have lots of algorithms and hidden elo things that they use that are really reliable to place teams into the appropriate division. So the only thing I can really talk about is whether I think the players on these playing or platinum. That's all I will comment on. But I would say the 4 teams that has questionable players, and some of them are okay, some of them are not. I would say it's pregame tryhards, AG or Giraffe's team, Space Bears, and Cat Girl Cafe.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Cat Girl Cafe has a Downpour and Overseer on it, and I think that's a good example of 2 players that should be playing in gold. I mean, they put 6 or 7 seasons into platinum, and they, put out a bunch of good matches. They won a season. They had disappointing seasons, and just because I think that they're good at the game, I don't think that they should be forced to compete and put all that effort into platinum all at the same time. I think they're just playing with friends. They put a lot of effort into, the league and providing fun matches. I think it's great that, now they have an opportunity to take it easy in gold. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
So you think it's okay that they're in gold? You're saying it's okay that they're in gold, but they shouldn't move up to platinum, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that I think they're good in gold. Like I said, I don't know about everybody else on the team. I just know about the people that I've seen, that I know, not the team as a whole, but just the players whose names I recognize.
I think kind of like the gold platinum gap, much is always made of it, like every time there's an off season, and who's going to be in platinum, who's going to be in gold, and we made this plat team came in, but they don't want to play against all these plat teams, so they just like deform and go to other plat teams, or they drop down into gold somehow. I think you can reasonably make the case that you can be in either platinum or gold, unless your name is Gentleman's Club, unless your name is Murder Force 9000. And if you're like, teams do well together, but if you have to reform a new team and then go into platinum, I think that's impossible. I think that's like really, really too hard, because we're getting to that point now in which every team in platinum is like basically at the same skill level. Like if you had a player sick, if you had your main and your backup sick, for any team, doesn't matter if it's the best platinum team or the worst platinum team, you're screwed. Like even if you got like a mid gold tier player, you're super screwed. That's how close the competition is getting this year. So going to gold league, going to platinum league, they're kind of like, well, one's more like the Premier League and one is more like the Open League, I think, or at least it should be that way. It's not quite that way yet, but that's how I think it should be.
Yeah, I can respect and get behind that.
Yeah. So if teams don't want to go to platinum, I think that's kind of fair. I don't think you necessarily need to force them, but if they want to go, I say go for it. I just think it's kind of late at the season to start moving up now, right? We're already a quarter of the way through.
Well, I think that after week 2 or 3, there always ends up being a couple move ups after they, after the league really gets going. There's always a couple move ups, and that's why I just thought it was prudent to talk about it, because I think it is that time of year. So let me go on and talk about a few other teams. I brought up pregame tryhards. They have Blaze on it, but Blaze, I think, is another guy who put lots of time into playing in platinum, and he's the only invite player on that team. Yeah, he's a top invite player, but he's not a top invite player on Scout. And again, he put so much effort into, providing us fun seasons of watching him, and he put some time in. And I think just because he's good, that he shouldn't be forced to, make Highlander, put that much effort into Highlander. So yeah, I think that's a good example. Pregame tryhards is doing fine. I think the two questionable teams, AG or Giraffe's team and Space Bears. I think Space Bears is questionable because they have 4 invites on them. They have Puff, S, Sparrow, and Fracture. And I'm not sure what classes they're playing, so I don't know. But if Fracture or Puff are playing demo, I would say they definitely shouldn't be in gold.
Yeah.
But 4 invites on a gold team, I think, a little bit ridiculous. Like, that's how many invites we have on our team.
Yeah. It's is there still a stigma of either moving up to platinum or playing platinum? Like, if you're a gold team, is that still a thing that you'd rather just stay down in gold and just not have to try as hard, or is that becoming less a thing?
That's a thing.
Yeah,
Speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's a thing, and I think the biggest thing is that those top invite teams are the top platinum teams are really scary. When you're not in top platinum, I think it's even a bit ridiculous that some of the mid or bottom platinum teams should be expected to go against the top plat teams, because even when we scrim those like mid plat teams, like, my players will complain and be like, hey, can we not do that again? I didn't have fun. So if it's not fun for the people on my team, I wouldn't think that it would be fun for the people getting rolled. But I think that no matter what, there's going to be some heartache, and no matter what, there's going to be some butts that hurt. I think all we have to do for the most part is just try to enjoy it. We're playing a game for fun.
It is for fun. The summer fun season. Sorry.
Yeah.
Love saying that.
Like catchphrase, yeah. That's
Well,
cool.
that's gonna be a thing for ages. Summer fun season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's a stigma that's not going to be lost.
While we're on the topic of stigmas and UGC and stuff like that, we could talk about maps a little bit, because I think we've talked about maps 2 weeks in a row with Mustard and with Sigafu. And about maps. As we were saying earlier, you put a lot of work into making Borneo what it is. What's your take on the maps? Say anything you want about maps.
Okay, my first take on the map.
Keep it clean.
Is it opinions are like buttholes. Everybody has one. And with that, everybody is going to express what map is good and what map is bad, and I don't think is really worth all that much talking about what maps are good on. I could maybe say that I don't really like Gravel Pit because I think that it takes longer to get 18 people on the server than it is to actually finish the map.
Yeah.
I would say another thing is I think that the mindset that you have to have an AD and you have to have the CTF and you have to have this, I think that's really ridiculous. And
but isn't the issue that there's not enough 5CP maps, good 5CP maps? Like, what would be the best kind of map to play in Highlander, do you think? Is there an ideal mode? Or?
Yeah, the ideal mode is payload. Definitely. You know, the one new interesting aspect that TF2 brings to the FPS scene is payload, cart pushing. And it's, you know, it's a mix between 5CP and, you know, has this interesting mechanic where you push the cart and you get health and, you know, attacking, defending. I think that's fun. And all the classes are equally as useful on payload. Scout can be a bit monotonous at times when you're pushing the cart, but I've enjoyed Scout on payload. I really have. And the last thing I want to express about maps is, you know, I think that every player has an equal say in what maps should be played in UGC, because fun is subjective, and what I think is fun, the average player new to Steel doesn't think is fun. And I will say that I think that unlocks should be mostly kept up to people that put a lot of effort and time into the game, like Platinum and maybe Gold, because those people better understand the balance of the game, and weapons affect the balance of the game, whereas maps is where we play the game. That's, you know, what I think everybody should, you know, be able to have equal say in. But yeah, that's pretty much it. On top of that, I also have a map that I helped make that you talked about earlier. Borneo. I don't know. What do you guys think of Borneo? Feel free to offend me and criticize me.
Oh, sure, buddy. It's super awesome. I like playing Borneo, and I hate casting Borneo because it's super duper hard to cast. There's way too many angles. Way too many angles.
I think it's still evolving in terms. Obviously, the meta is still evolving, and I think casting it is still evolving. So several of us can talk from that point of view. But the fact that it was first played in Season 7 during summer for UGC, and teams just did not know what to do. And every game went on for every round was at least 15-minute times. So it was absolutely crazy. And I think this season we're going to see shorter times. We're going to see it evolve a little bit more like Barn Blitz Pro. At least I'm hoping. But in terms of Barn Blitz, avoiding the downfalls of Barn Blitz last. So I think it's good. It has a little bit more work, and I think a lot of that work is just going into the players and the teams and continually putting in that work now that it's in the regular rotation. And I think that was UGC's real impetus for putting in the regular rotation, was to be like, hey, we're going to make this a legit map. Now start thinking about strategy, start playing it seriously. And hopefully we'll see that in a few weeks.
I remember everyone loves Borneo's last, so I think that's probably the most important thing to do on a payload map is the last point, because that's generally the one that's getting played the most, because that's the point that gets defended the easiest, so that's the point the offense has to attack the most, thereby it's the thing everyone sees the most. And if people like the last, I think you're off to a good start. I mean, everyone likes Upwards last. Badwater's not as much, but people are okay with it, so if it doesn't have a good last, it can't be played.
I'm wondering, Vhalin, can you talk a bit about what was the impetus behind creating Borneo? What kinds of things were you guys trying to improve upon or trying to address, or, you know, what was behind it?
Well, I think my main motivation behind Borneo was I saw all these people complaining about the maps, and everybody's complaining about this, complaining about that. And we were playing some pretty bad maps. We played Vitalism and Haunt, and, you know, instead of just adding to the complaints, I said to myself, why don't I go out there and try to do something about it and try to get a good map in the rotation that people can like. And originally I was looking for somebody who could make TL Thunder Mountain a single stage payload map, and that's when I came to Sean and said, oh, well, why don't we just run Borneo instead? And so that's how we got to Borneo. And something I want to say to all the viewers out there that don't particularly like Borneo, that's fine. There's some things I don't like about it still that, you know, I try to tell Sean, the true map maker, the true creator that I don't like, and it usually comes down to, oh, that takes too much time to change. But something about Borneo that you guys should all know is that because Borneo is a map kind of made by us, is that map will continue to get improved and tested and changed and balanced. And I think that's a really good reason to get behind it, is knowing that, after every season we're going to get a better map and a better map, versus something like Swiftwater, which I think is another good custom map. But over the seasons, it's really displayed a downfall at the fourth point, where you have to push the cart up a hill and then around a tree, and then after that, the defending side has a 10-second or 8-second respawn. Issues with
cool,
maps come up.
Everyone loves watching the tree and then not having to be able to see through it. Tree's cool. I don't know why you don't like it.
Yeah.
Which one's the latest version right now? Is it RC2 or V3?
RC3.
RC3. Oh, I do not have that one.
It is cool to have maps. Sorry, Turbo, to have maps being worked on and stuff. You were talking too that UGC is testing out a bunch of new maps. Is that right?
Red Run, who's a UGC admin, created a Steam group. Let me see if I can get the link here, but it's an open Steam group, and the idea is that you go there to play test maps. It's called Playtest Initiative, I think, and it's basically designed around getting more maps, improved and balanced for Highlander, so we have a larger map pool. And I can't post the link.
I went ahead and got it there for you.
Oh, you did? Okay. Very nice of you. So you should join if you like custom map and you like playtest. You should join that group. Hopefully we'll get some maps out there.
Are there any you're excited for yet? Is that what you're gonna say?
There were a couple, but all I can think of is the map makers. One of them, I think, is called. Let me see, what's his name? Blade 64. I think he's coming out with his own map that he's making, and another one is Frozen. And both of them, I think, are interested in creating payload maps just for us, Highlander people. And I look forward to anything they create. They create it with us in mind, and I would play test it forever. If it was our very own Highlander map, I would support that 100%.
What about Swiftwater? That was specifically tailored for Highlander play, and it's used every season.
I like Swiftwater. Recently, a lot more people, though, have been complaining about it when people are going to complain about it. But I would say the drawback with Swiftwater is that there's that fourth point when you push up the hill and then around the tree, and the whole time the red has a ridiculously fast respawn. That's an easy fix, and I think if anybody knows the map maker of Swiftwater, they should message him and tell him to fix that fourth point.
What's the fix? What is it?
Well, red has a ridiculously fast respawn, and blue team pushes up the hill, and you have to push the cart around a tree, like around a circle. I think that's
but what's
silly.
the fix? What's the fix? You just change the spawns, or what?
What's the easy fix? Change the spawn times and maybe add some geometry for a third point, or a third route. I'm sorry, a third route that gets to the fourth point that isn't as choky, and probably not make that cart path go around the tree and instead be more direct.
That point seems really tough to refactor, because you've got all this back end stuff with all that barn stuff that scouts jump in the back through and snipers snipe through and all the time. How are you gonna you'd have to get rid of that, or you'd have to move it around, guaranteed to do that?
Either that or the wall that's between the third and fourth point. Maybe there could be a path or some kind of geometry or some structure created there that blue team has access to that red team doesn't, that allows you to push faster there. But I think just the spawn, if the map maker didn't want to do anything that big, I think if he just changed the spawn times and got rid of that tree that the cart pushes around, I think that would be good enough.
Now, how about this for an idea? What if you teamed up with the map maker and you could be partners and get half of the royalties?
Half of
them, be rich.
But they do all the work.
You ever think of that? Well, you just bargain if you're good at negotiating. Easy.
That's kind of what I have going on with Sean right now, except he's having more like 10 or 20% of the royalties or something. But I think that the people that make maps, I think it's extremely hard, and I think that
they need more credit.
Yeah, they need more credit, and
compensation.
The people. Yeah, you have to also really understand from map maker, the map is their baby, and it's not easy to listen to somebody else tell you what to do with your project.
That's true.
Well, I think wanted to do a couple more things before we close up here, but there's something you want to talk about in terms of UGC, and kind of it goes back to this whole map testing thing and kind of just increasing communication between players and stuff. Just go ahead.
Yeah. I think that right now the current relationship between the Platinum leaders and the UGC administration isn't as good as what it could be or what it should be. I think that there definitely needs to be more communication and more understanding between them. I would say most of this has to do with Platinum players and leaders, and Gold too, putting more effort out to reason with to talk to the admins in a respectful manner, and being cordial, and something they need to understand is that we're all playing in their league, and while we're putting time into the game, that the UGC admins are putting their time into the league. And if I could go over a few things that I think would really help bring the Platinum leaders and player base and in the Gold leaders and player base together, and with the UGC admins, and being able to make decisions together and voice our concerns. I think that there's a few things that Platinum and Gold should do, and a few things that I think the admins should do. But first, I want to talk about the things that I think the Platinum and Gold player base needs to do. One is they need to have a very respectful to the UGC admins, because they do put in a lot of work into the league, and this means not having this elite attitude or skill when you talk to admins and be like, well, look, I played the game for this long and I'm that good and I top frag this. That's not going to get you anywhere. I think another thing that should be avoided is trying to stir the pot on the forums and trying to get every butt out there with opinion expressing on the forums. I don't think that's particularly productful for if you want to be heard. And I think another problem is that the UGC somehow perceives the administration as being lazy when it could be further from the truth. Just because the administration doesn't agree with you doesn't mean they don't care. That just means they don't agree with you. And at the same time, the league should also understand that the administrators, I think, need to understand that that the Platinum and Gold player bases have put in a lot more time into the game than other players. There are those people that play in Steel and play in UGC for 4 seasons in Steel, but I've mentored enough Steel teams to know that the reason why those people are still in Steel after 4 seasons is because they don't care about the game as much as the people that have moved up several seasons. I think it was just 5 seasons ago that Street Hoops, last season was 4 seasons ago that Street Hoops was in Steel, and they worked their ass off and they won Platinum. And so I think that there should be a understanding on both sides. And a lot of this goes back to, I think, what I said before, that I think that upper level leaders, Platinum leaders, Gold leaders, need to have more say in weapon bans, since they really understand the game well. But at the same time, they shouldn't have a say in league procedures and how the league does that, because that's not, as us as team leaders, that's not our job to tell UGC how they should run their league. And I think another thing to that is a lot of people want to discuss unlocks with admins, and the unlocks that have been beaten to death by like a dead horse. The Wrangler, the Gunslinger, the Bicycle. If admins have already talked about this for so many seasons now, if you go to the admins and go, hey, the Wrangler's overpowered, they're gonna be like, screw you, okay? Ignore this person, ignore our message, read on to the next one. And on top of I want to top off my opinion with unlocks and talk about map selection. Again, I think I said it before, but I think that everybody should have an equal say in what maps to play, because everybody, something I've learned from working with Sean on Borneo is that everybody has their own idea of what they think is fun. And just because I think one part or one feature is fun doesn't mean that Sean will think it's fun, and vice versa. So, yeah, that's it for my rant about communication between administrators. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I got something I'd like to add. I just want to stack on just a little bit about when people are addressing the admins. Your goal is to get them to understand your perspective. The less you can do to be sensational and emotional about your side of the story, the more they'll be able to understand and not discard you as just being emotional or sensational. If you just take a minute to gather your facts together and can compose a really nice statement towards them, it goes over so much better than you could ever imagine. So that's all I have to say about that.
Well, being a previous UGC admin.
Yes,
right?
as a previous UGC admin, I'm no longer with them, but that's just because I chose to do other things, like casting and producing and stuff.
Collecting your UGC pension now.
Yes. I'm just kicking back, taking 5% of nothing.
Yeah, I wanted to add one more to that. About the whole administration thing. A while ago, someone, I'm not going to say who, messaged me and asked that we not play a certain map. And I just kind of refused because I don't think that that's the way if you don't want to play a map. UGC admins can totally just be like, okay, you guys all get forfeit losses then.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the way you go about playing a map you don't want to play. Instead, get together, express your opinions as a group to the admins, and I think they'd be much more inclined to listen than, going behind their back. Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah. That was a pretty cool rant, bro.
Yeah. Cool rant, bro. I enjoyed it.
We
should plug Hildreth's fundraiser, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great idea. What's
I
all
only
Hilly
learned
up to
about
these
this.
days?
Yeah. I only just learned about this today. So what is it?
Yeah, Vhalin,
Where can I find
give us a little shout out. What's going on?
With Hildreth's thing? Okay,
Yeah.
So Hildreth is running a fundraiser, and he's trying to promote Highlander. After viewing the recent success of both the Zowie tournaments and how those brought so many viewers in, he wants to try to promote the same kind of thing for Highlander and prove that Highlander is a legitimate game mode, and that we can get the same kind of following for Highlander that we got for Sixes in terms of players.
Cool. So where can we check this out? When is it going to be?
I don't know. Kid, have more information than me. Why don't you?
Do I have to search the internet?
No, it's all right.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
All right, I got it all here.
All right.
It will be this Sunday. That is February 9th at, I think you said 5 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be on teamfortress.tv, so that's twitch.tv/teamfortresstv. Casters to be decided, but it should be a fun tournament. Almost all of the majority of the Platinum Highlander teams are invited. And so you're going to see your top players. Vhalin, you're going to be there?
Yeah, I will definitely be there.
Awesome. So should be a sweet one-day tournament to help promote both the UGC cause, but also the Highlander cause, which I think is really awesome for Hildreth. He's one of the biggest supporters of Highlander, which is great. So he just kind of single-handedly put this together, which is awesome. So definitely this Sunday, check that out.
Yeah.
Proceeds should go to the funding campaign for the prize pools, I believe, for the Plat players. And do you know if it's going to be Swiss style or single elimination? If it's double elimination, that would be a long day. That'd be an awesome day of TF2.
I think it's a single elimination because Hildreth wanted to do double elimination. I'm like, no, God, no, please.
Oh, you guys should do it. Make it a weekend affair. That'd be so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All the Plat teams do it, right? It doesn't matter, right? Everyone has to play with Slippery Operation on Monday. That'd be really cool.
Well, as we're approaching minute number 55 of the cast tonight, are we going to go over any fantasy TF2?
First, we have to ask special talent.
Yeah, what is your special talent?
Oh, yeah.
Or hidden talent.
Me?
Yes, this is to get to know a guest, and we want to learn something new about you that we never known before. Any special talents? Musical instruments?
I am very good at driving cars quickly in a straight line.
Really?
I once, you can see some videos on my YouTube, but I used to be big into racing cars, and I once set a record for the fastest stock GTO, fastest stock flying GTO, and that's about it. Other than that, I can do the bridge.
The fastest stock GTO?
Yeah.
So does that mean whoever lightest drives the car wins?
I'm sorry, what? Wait, I didn't get that.
Well, the lighter you are, the less work the car has to do, the faster it'll go. So is
No.
that what you mean by stock, or?
Well, stock means that the car hasn't been modified at all.
Yeah.
So the best driver is the one who changes gears the fastest, who can launch the car the fastest.
Oh, okay.
That would make sense if you were in an automatic.
Yeah, I just thought, well, person A bought an automatic GTO, and well, what am I thinking? Why would a GTO be in an automatic?
Yeah.
Car
That I guess is my hidden talent.
That's great. We'll have to see it next time. Bring a car on
I can
the
do
stream.
this right now. I can do this. Does this count for anything?
Oh.
Pretty gross.
It's just as good as a musical instrument.
Okay, I can put one of my videos on the stream.
If we put
yeah, do
Sigafu's
that.
like ukulele playing versus Vhalin's car racing, like Vhalin would just run him over, and the ukulele would do nothing to stop him. So, I think he wins that one so far. And also the rapping, he could just run him over as well.
Well, you could put Mustard's rapping with Sigafu's ukulele. I can play the drums. Maybe you could do.
What'd you think of Mustard's rap?
I thought Mustard. I was actually surprised by Mustard's rap. I was like, look at this little white boy. He thinks he can rap, and I was like, hey, wait, that was actually not bad.
Yeah, he kicked out in the top gear. Like after a few phrases, he was off.
Yeah. So if I got you all to LAN, and I brought you all instrument set. So I own a lot of instruments. To collect them a little bit. It's the thing I do. And I brought you like a drum set, bass guitar, microphone, of course. We'll mic it up. We'll go to TF2 LAN and we'll form the TF2 Jam Band, and we can do that. The off time. It'd be pretty fun. I think.
Can we play the theme title?
Yeah. The non-existent 99 theme title.
No, for TF2. Yeah, or
TF2.
the soldier song, I believe it's called, or something like that. The rocket jump. I can't remember the title of the song, but it's great.
It's a good song. Oh yeah, so some stats real quick.
Yeah, Fantasy Fuse 2.
I haven't finished putting everyone's scores in, and I gotta talk to you, Kip, about this after the broadcast. But right now, let's go over some score leaders for us here. So,
all right.
Biggest score leader by far, like the biggest gap between the next score is actually Decimate on Team ET for Scout. He made 61 points with 30 kills, 11 assists, and 10 damage per minute. He top frags in all of those categories. So most kills on a Scout, most assists on a Scout, most damage per minute on a Scout was Decimate, actually. Craziness, right?
What team is Decimate on?
Decimate's on ET. Team,
okay.
Formerly AG. What are they, Electric Temptations now?
The Electric Temptations, yeah.
Who
Does
else?
anybody have him on their team?
Yeah, somebody does. He's a land star.
Somebody has Decimate.
I don't know.
Trade you.
Let me check the picks here. No one picked Decimate. I don't think. I don't see it on here.
Who's gonna get him?
Damn it, Kip.
Yeah. Although this is something we need to talk about as well, because AG had a longer game than most other teams did, and they won it very handily. So they ended up getting more points in general. Now, do we like that system where the team that has a long game but plays really well gets more points, or do we rather have the team that just completely rolls and plays a shorter game?
We'll have to figure that in on next week.
Mean, in fantasy baseball and football, if the team goes into extra innings or whatever, or extra time, that gets factored in, right?
I think so.
No,
I'm not a fantasy
No,
expert.
that's if it goes long. That's just it. You get more points.
It
Yeah.
happens.
Yep. There's huge variance in TF2 though, so it doesn't quite work. We'll have to come up with a rule. You'll have to have point overflow or time overflow at some point. But that'll be cool. But you guys got to get over to your next cast for the ESE Open, happening in 30 minutes?
Oh.
60 seconds.
Oh no.
No, it's gonna be at 10:30 Eastern, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be
Okay.
an hour, a little over an hour from now. So
Okay,
you guys have a little bit of a break, but once we do break, come right back to twitch.tv/xtv esports. Check that out.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap it up here for the most of this. Vhalin, you were excellent, great guest.
Yeah,
I'll
thanks for
have
coming.
all of the stats ready to go. Make sure to donate if you haven't donated already to the UGC donation fund, and if you're not donating now, there might be some cool prize that Hildreth might give you Sunday. Do you know what time the tournament starts?
Ooh.
It's at night at
Is-
5 maybe late afternoon, 5-ish.
5 EST?
Eastern. I think so.
Yeah. Sweet. 5 EST will be good.
Vhalin, any shout-outs?
Shout out to Triton and Team Just Kidding and Gold, only because he asked me for a shout out. So
That's all you got
that's
to
about
do.
it. It's the only guy.
All right. Well, with that, again, we want to thank you so much for your participation and positive attitude, which is actually pretty surprising to find in some Platinum leaders these days. Just really great that you're still on board with Highlander and still rethinking everything. So we can't wait to see what you'll pull out next week in Upward, and we wish you and Gentlemen's Club the best of luck in this upcoming season or the rest of the season. All right. So anything else, guys? Are we all set?
Nope.
Good on my end.
behalf of everyone here at 9 and Out and XTV, thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to tune in for Open Finals taking place in an hour and a half-ish, and also every Monday at 9:30 Eastern time for XTV's coverage of UGC Platinum Highlander. That's about it for us. Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace out.
Good night, maggots.